Namaskar. I Shambhavi welcome you all to your channel Galactic Echoes. So let's start exploring the wisdom of Vedic astrology. Now, there are some points which we should take into consideration before moving ahead, and I'll explain all of these to you. What will be the definition of the Navamsa chart? What is D9 exactly? If we were able to derive all our answers from the D1, why do we have the D9 chart? What is the relevance of the D9 in our life? So basically, the relevance of the D9 is divided into two realms. The first is the most materialistic physical realm, which is pertaining to the marriage aspects and all of these relationship aspects, your life after marriage, your life after 36 years of your age, where you progress more materialistically. Why? Because after the 36 years, there are only two planets which are not mature, that they are Rahu and Ketu, and they mature after the 36 years of your age. There is where the D9, the Navamsa charts, gets activated. The other thing is that the Navamsa chart, it is also used to decode our spiritual prowess. What kind of potential we have spiritually, how the philosophical area in life can be affected and can unfold. We can also study it through Navamsa chart. So here is the difference between the Navamsa. It is used for two major things in our lives: our beliefs, our system, our philosophy, our spiritual beliefs, our higher beliefs also, and of course about the marriage, relationship, and more about the materialistic plane, about the seventh house, unionship and partnerships. So how do we have to take this thing into consideration is that you will see so many astrologers telling you that the sign and the sign's relevance is the most important thing to be studied in the D9 or in the divisional charts. The house placement does not matter at all, but in actual sense, sign a planet, a particular planet is placed in, it represents the spiritual side, your spiritual journey, the soul's journey toward in that spiritual metaphorical realm. But the planet's position in a particular house in divisional charts is what we have to study to decode things in our materialistic physical lives. So that is why a planet's position in a particular house in D9, in Navamsa or any other divisional chart becomes important with respect to its physical materialistic areas connected. Like your marital life, your marital bliss is actually logged in the D9 chart, in the Navamsa chart. How you will be able to decode it? Through the placement of the planets in a particular house. That is what is important. The sign also has equal amount of relevance, but the relevance is manifested in the spiritual terms, in more of a working method, the working way. What will be the method adopted by that particular planet in a particular realm of your life is decided by the sign, but in which area it is destined to work is actually decided by the planet's placement in a particular house, which is again relating to materialism and all of these physical enjoyments and luxuries of your life. So that is why I have taken the first planet, Venus, the Karaka of the Navamsa chart, to be studied in all the houses of your Navamsa chart. So let's start the video and let's dive in. So now when you have Venus in the first house, what you will see is that post-marriage you will become more artistic, more graceful, more of a diplomat sort of a personality. You will also master the art of deceit. That is something. You will also invest your time in creativity or in creative ventures. You will be more of a harmonious sort of a personality. You will become more harmonious. You will also be interested in luxuries, having all the sensory pleasures in your life. With Venus in the first house of the Navamsa chart, it really suggests that you marry into a good family. And when you marry into a good family, that is why you are able to enjoy all the luxuries of your life. That is for sure. Now it will depend if the Venus is debilitated in the sign of Virgo in the first house of Navamsa. So the luxuries and the enjoyment will go in a decline, in a decreasing motion, but it will be lowered, but not like it will not be denied. Venus, when placed in the first house of the Navamsa chart, whatever rising you are, it really suggests that something is your marriage is actually in itself is a harmonious relationship. Your marriage is something good, but your personality of overindulgence with this Venus in the first house can give problems. With the females watching this video, actually, the problem is there with the Venus in the first house of the Navamsa. Why? Because it also suggests that you are going through a period of transformation before your marriage and after your marriage. So maybe you were not doing very good in your life before marriage, and now you are doing good in your life after marriage. The fourth house is the obstruction with this on this Venus. So what does it represent is that because Venus finds Digbal in the fourth house, it suggests that your duty towards your home, towards making emotional comfort available to your all the family members, to your children, and motherhood especially, because fourth house is the karaka of motherhood, is obstructing your pleasures, is obstructing your luxury and sensory pleasures which you are getting, which you are eligible for post marriage. And there is where the problem comes with this Venus in the first house. So the basic thing is that do not overindulge yourself in anything. That is the first thing. Like you must have seen people who are into their day-to-day daily routines and daily tasks involving all these Venus and like partying or greeting and meeting with people of women, especially I'm talking about. They are the people who are into and in that chase, they might sometime neglect their fourth house. And fourth house is important because Venus finds Digbal there, but fourth house is putting obstruction on your Venus, so basically just restricting your Venus yourself to enjoy those luxuries. But still I feel trapped. The other thing is that the 64th Navamsa is actually traced, mapped to the fourth house. So the planet placed there, whether it be Saturn, it be Sun, Moon, the Karaka representing that particular, the living Karaka being represented by that particular planet. Like for Saturn it is servants, for Sun it is father, for Moon it is mother. They will be the people who will be like, they can become your enemies. Like they will be the people who are bringing dispute in your life after marriage, in your married life, also in your marital bliss. You'll feel these things happening. And all the things of the 10th house, see, that is why I'm saying that you are more of an outgoing personality after marriage with this Venus in the first house of your Navamsa chart, because your 10th house is getting strength. Now if you have more planets in the 10th house with this particular placement of the Venus in the first house, and those planets placed in the 10th house, they are having more aspects than the planets sitting in the fourth house, then those obstructions from the fourth house will be balanced, they will be nullified, and you will feel more neutral sort of a person after marriage. Yes, I have my duties to perform, and I feel trapped that I have money to visit, to make an international trip, but I cannot because of these duties I have to perform in my home or in my household. But because of the fact that yes, I have gained a promotion and I am working hard for my public dignity, for at my career front and all of these things, that is why I believe that it is all right, even if I have duties, but still I am working good at my career front, so it is all set. For you, this will be the case with this particular Venus placed in the first house of the Navamsa. But the 10th house planets, they should be more stronger than the fourth house planets. So also the planets placed in the 10th house and their karakas will be the people who will be helping you out, supporting you out in the challenges, disputes after your marriage. So if it is Mercury, your friends will be always there with you, standing in all the battles and all the disputes you go through in your life. But also the sign Venus is placed in and the nakshatra Venus is sitting in the D1 chart, where the Taurus and Libra sign are falling in the D1 chart, which sign Venus is sitting in the D9 and it is falling where in the D1 chart. All of these things will give more definite picture, more layering to this particular placement, but in basic terms this will be the case. Also, you'll feel that you have, after marriage, you have started judging people based on their financial status, their looks, and their creative prowess also with this Venus. That you will ask someone that have you read Anna Karenina, and if he or she denies, then you are the one making so many unnecessary thoughts about them in your mind. All of these things can happen, but yes, the sign and that particular sign, what rising you are in your D1, all of these things will matter a lot, but in basic terms this will be the case. Let's move forward and let's understand the placement of the Venus in the second house. So now, when you have Venus in the second house of your Navamsa chart, what you will see after marriage is that you will become more prone to beautifying your face, your voice. You will use good makeup, and you would want to invest more in the beauty. If Mercury and Rahu is involved, we can also see cosmetic surgery happening post marriage, but that is something a more of a uh, nakshatra thing. But yes, with Venus in the second house, you will be prone towards eating good, listening good. You'll invest in perfumes and smells of different kinds, and also you'll be very much interested in hoarding wealth of for your family, for your well-being, for your sensory pleasures. Like, you would want to invest in something which gives you luxurious life, which gives you sensory pleasures of all kinds. But with this Venus in the second house, you doing all of these things will cause problem in your married life, especially if you are a woman, because Venus is then representing you according to Nadi astrology, and you are more invested in the second house. You are more invested in dealing with relatives. Like, you will be more towards those uh, affluent relatives of yours, which you think that building relationships with them would serve us something sometime later on. All of these things will cause problem to your married life, to your, it will not be taken in good terms by your spouse. To mitigate all of these things, what you can do is, you can invest more in spirituality, more in foreign lands or foreign trips. You'll be drawn more towards family values, towards connecting with relatives. But what you have to do is, instead you should move out abroad. You should move in foreign lands. You should stay anonymous. You should work from the shadows. Actually, you should not be in the limelight constantly. Even if you are doing something, like in the most basic terms, that you are into some sort of a competition, or you won something, but you should not tell it to anyone with proud or something like that. Don't show it off to others in the whole world. Your energy will be drawn towards the second house. Your energy will be, you will think, actually, with the people having Venus in the second house in the Navamsa chart, they always think that they have to marry. Most basic condition for the marriage becomes financial stability. This is the most basic thing, and materialistic values too. Now, if you are a Taurus rising, all of these things can enhance, and you will be using more of your intellect and your intelligence towards these kind of relationships. That you secure friendships with good people, or you secure, like, relationships with good people, financially stable ones, so that you most probably end up getting marrying rich. All of these things happen with the Venus placed in the second house of your Navamsa chart, and you would chase to all of the second house karakas, eating well, going out, and having dinner with family members who are affluent. All of these things happen, but they will ruin your married life if you overdo it. This is something important. So the only remedy to neglect all of this thing is seeking 12th house. The planet sitting in the 12th house of your Navamsa chart will also help you in mitigating those troubles coming from the second house. As I said this, the first and the foremost thing would be that you should have good sleep. You should always take 8 hours of sleep at least, and you should maintain it in a proper cycle. That is very important, extremely important, with this placement of the Venus in the second house. The other thing is that whatever matters are relating to your personal room, to your personal private room with your spouse, they should always stay inside. This is something which you should always understand with this placement of the Venus in the second house. Although people having placement of the Venus in the second house in their D1 chart too have this tendency of sharing things out, like unintentionally. Like I've seen in so many cases that there was this servant who had this habit of going in and out, walking in and out of the room easily because he had work there. That is something totally different, but yeah, this is the way, this is the way it can happen too, if your Venus is well placed in the second house of the D1 chart even. And if it is in the Navamsa, then that is, this thing is for sure, it is happening. Whatever secrets you have with your spouse, they should not be disclosed to anyone. To anyone, I must tell you this completely, that whatever planet is sitting in the second house with Venus will try to extract those, private talks, and if they go out, they can create some problem in your life. And like in the case of particularly men, they start giving out information to, the private normal information to the other females of the family, and the wife doesn't like it, and the problem is being created. So all of these things are issue actually. You should address it, and you should limit yourself to this habit, that you will not share all of the details in the family, in out in the world publicly. That is for you and your spouse only. The other thing is sleep is necessary. The other thing is that foreign lands and traveling long distance is very important. Like when you get married, even if you want, you plan the first vacations with your wife or with your husband, it should be a long distance travel, definitely, for sure. It is very important. Like if it is, you are living in North India, go South India. If you are living in South India, go North India. That is for it is very important with this particular placement of the Venus in the second house. So foreign trips and long distance travel is important for you to make your marital life happier and of good quality. This is important with this placement of the Venus in the second house of your Navamsa chart. Let's move forward. Let's understand the placement of the Venus in the third house. Now, when you have your Venus placed in the third house of your Navamsa chart, it will suggest that it is a really good placement. It's a blessed placement with this Venus in the third house. Why? Because this Venus will support your married life, your marital bliss in all the way possible. So like you can also, with Venus in the third house of the Navamsa chart, it suggests that you have some skill, some a tool of Venusian sort, which is used in your profession, which is widely used in your profession. Like you can also be like, a painter has a brush is also used by makeup artists. All of these professions having some tools or some skill of Venusian trait is represented by when Venus is sitting in the third house of your Navamsa chart. So it becomes important, the Venus and the planets. The more planets you have in the third house of your Navamsa chart, it will really make difference in your positive difference in your married life, in your marital bliss. So with this Venus in the third house, this is for sure that you have a Venusian kind of skill which is used in your profession. It could also be writing, it could also be a professional makeup artist or a hairdresser. All of these professions are, and they can be seen. The other thing is that your father-in-law will be a creative person. He will be involved in creative arts or creativity or luxury, or some sort of some sort of that kind of profession, basically creativity related. He can also be a professor of arts. He can even he can even be a professor of language if this Venus has aspects of Jupiter or is entwined to Jupiter in your Navamsa chart. So all the Venusian traits will be there. He can also be a teacher because Venus Shukrachar is also the teacher of the Danavas. But the teaching and his teaching would be in some non-traditional disciplines with this Venus in the third house. So your father-in-law will be a sweet, gentle person. He will be good looking. He will be very artistic. He can also sing well. He might sing well too. He can also be fond of wine. If this Venus is in trine with Saturn, all of these things will be present in your father-in-law. You can also get something as a gift or as a reward from your father-in-law post marriage. All of these things will be seen with the Venus in the third house. The other thing is, all the planets which are sitting in the 11th house of your Navamsa chart, they will be the cause of disputes and challenges in your life. Actually, they will be directly impacting your gains, your incoming wealth post marriage. So let's say if any planet Jupiter is sitting in there in the 11th house, so your elder siblings or the people of your social circle who are connected to Jupiter sort of traits, like something like in a consultancy business, or they can also be related to disciplines such as physics or astronomy, or anyone who has Jupiter traits in him or herself will be the problem. There can be the problem coming in. They will be making trouble in your gains, in your incoming wealth, in your social circle, in your rewards, in your achievements. They can also be obstructing your hopes, wishes and desires. But this Venus sitting in the third house of your this Navamsa chart will be trying to nullify all the effects of that particular planet. Now it will really depend on the particular aspects, conjunctions these both planets, Venus in the third house and the planet sitting in the 11th house, are making. That will play a different kind of a role in the whole chart. Whole Navamsa chart has to be analyzed. The sign has to be taken into consideration. But the 11th house is where the planets placed there are the problem. They are the cause of problem in your life, in your marital life, I should say, in your bliss after marriage, in your fortune after marriage, in your gains after marriage. But this Venus is there, and because the Venus is also the Karaka of the Navamsa chart, so it is really a very good placement to have Venus in the third house of the Navamsa chart, because Venus itself, the Karaka of marriage itself, is fighting against all the odds in your life coming from the 11th house of your Navamsa chart. So this is how we decode the placement of the Venus in the third house. Let's move forward and let's understand the placement of the Venus in the fourth house of your Navamsa chart. Now when you have your Venus placed in the fourth house of your Navamsa chart, this could be a little bit tricky placement. Why? I'll explain it. See, the Venus is the Karaka of the Navamsa chart. So Venus placement is really important to be analyzed in the Navamsa chart from the perspective of marital bliss and your life after marriage. So what can happen is that Venus will nudge you to become a person who likes to get involved in all the karakas of the fourth house, like doing household chores or doing something of giving care and nourishing your younger ones, like your child or your children, your family as a whole. And why? Because Venus finds Digbal in the fourth house. You will also be expecting everyone to behave this way. Now it can happen differently in a men's chart. Like if Venus is sitting in the fourth house of your Navamsa chart and you are a male watching this video, what can happen is that your spouse, your wife would want all of these things out of you, and she will be nudging you to behave in this way. You can also see yourself moving indoors after marriage. Like you would not want to go outside. You would not want to intermingle with people or friends. Your social circle might also shrink after marriage, but you will think that I'll work from the comforts of my home. All of these things will happen after marriage with Venus in the fourth house. Your wife will regularly nudge you to renovate your house. If you are a male watching this video, renovate your home, will get this paint, will get this paint done, it is in trend, or all of these things will happen with this particular placement. And she will be the person who would want to bring in the prosperity in your home. Now it would really depend on the nakshatra Venus is placed in the sign it is placed in your Navamsa chart. But yes, your wife would nudge you to move towards chasing the comforts of your life, the luxuries actually. The other thing is that her this thing profession can also be Venus related. So it can be in a creative field, it can be in a constructive field, it can also be something related to food, eating, or she can also be a doctor. She can also be specifically an ENT, ear, nose, or throat doctor, specifically with Venus in the fourth house, because it also suggests the career of your spouse, your fourth house of the Navamsha. The sign Venus is placed in will also say a lot of things, but yes, Venus will be present in her career. It will be a very feminine sort of a career. So she will not be doing any hard labor, or she can also be a banker for sure. She can also be in investment banking if it is supported by Mercury or Saturn, and all of these things, or Jupiter as well. If this Venus is being supported by Jupiter, all of these things can happen. But you would want to make your home life, your home comforts into a more structured and comfortable zone for you as well as your family. Your wife can also have this habit of buying expensive decor items for the home's renovation. Like there should be this article which is the most expensive article and is serving the same need, but she would buy the most expensive article, not the one which is on present on the lower rates. All of these things can happen, and all of these things will put some sort of negativity, some sort of dispute in your married life. So when Venus is present in the fourth house of your Navamsa chart, it is not a very good placement, because 64th Navamsa is also mapped to this fourth house. Moreover, Venus is the Karaka of the Navamsa and sitting in the fourth house. Although it is Digbali in the fourth house, but in Navamsa this does not work in the D1 way. It is different. The only way this Venus and its negative aspects could be nullified are from the 10th house. You'll have to see the 10th house. What planets are there? What are they doing? Where are they, having what kind of conjunctions they have? What kind of aspects they have? If the planets in the 10th house are more, they are heavier and they have more energy concentration in them, then this Venus will not be able to harm your marital bliss. It will become neutralized. But if not, there will be problems in your married life with this Venus in the fourth house. So your profession, your public dignity, you working out in the world, that is what the problem is. Your workplace, your public dignity, your work front, your career will be something which will be nullifying the ill effects being made by the career of your spouse in your marriage. So this is how this placement will be analyzed. A lot of things will depend on the signs and the planet sitting in the 10th house. If there is sun placed in the 10th house, so it would be more like your father will be the person who will be steering this marriage, who can also be the anchor in this marriage, because of him and his demands, or like orders, you people are staying in this union. You are thinking about him. Now it can happen in a different way too. Your government is also the karaka. This government is also the karaka of the sun. So government is keeping you both together. All of these things can happen, that the government is the entity which is saving your married life. All of these things can be there with this particular placement of the Venus in the fourth house. So this particular placement of the Venus in the fourth house creates a natural universal contrast sort of a setting. If your profession, your 10th house, and your wife's or your husband's profession, your spouse profession, fourth house, is not in a proper state of balance, the whole marital life could wobble with this particular placement of Venus in the fourth house of your Navamsa chart. Let's move forward and let's understand the placement of the Venus in the fifth house of your Navamsa chart. When you have your Venus placed in the fifth house of your Navamsa chart, what it will suggest is that you will be drawn towards creativity, towards creating creativity. So you would want to work behind the scenes for all the creative works out there in the world. Maybe you will start a this Instagram page or something like that, which creates a sort of a boom in your life, and it gets hit. So this is something definite with the Venus in the fifth house. Your uh, attention after marriage would be towards creativity, romance, making children, all of these things. And your basic need after marriage would be related to the fifth house. So you would want your relationship to be romantic. You will also think that why my partner is not behaving in a very romantic way. It will actually disturb you. That even after the 10 years of your marriage, even after the 10 years of your marriage, you still will think that my partner should be romantic, creative, and he should invest in this relationship like he used to do before 10 years. The other thing with this placement of the Venus in the fifth house is that your children, you have some heavy pending karma related to children also after marriage. So maybe your children are the one, because of them you are not able to maintain a proper married life. Maybe because of their education you are living somewhere else with them, and your spouse is living somewhere else. This can also happen with the Venus in the fifth house. You can also see that your creative pursuits are the cause of disbalancing your marital bliss and your marital life. You can also see that with this Venus in the fifth house, that elder sibling of your spouse is someone who is creating the disbalance, especially female elder siblings of your spouse. There is where you will see that in so many disputes you will see that they were the problem, and they were the one who created all the issue. It was nothing, but it was created into some large thing, and it escalated, the matter escalated, and they were the ones who were doing it. So this is some thing I told you, that the female elder siblings of your spouse are the people you should be alert from with this placement of the Venus in the fifth house. The other thing is that the females in the social circle of your spouse can also be the people who can be the cause of dispute, challenges in your married life, in your marital bliss. I have also seen cases that when Venus is in trine with Rahu with this particular placement, wife or the husband, whose ever chart it is, this with this Venus placed in the fifth house, they have a kind of suspicion on their partner that they are cheating on them. And it was in some cases true, but it was promised in the D1. So you cannot say with this particular placement of the Venus in the fifth house that it will happen definitely. For that you will have to check the D1 chart, which is important. But yes, Venus in the fifth house, it escalates your craving for romance, for children, for bringing them together, for creative pursuits as well. But it can also disbalance your marital bliss, as too much and excess of everything is bad. So where can you find the this remedy out of this placement is the ninth house. You'll have to check the ninth house, what planets are sitting in the ninth house, what sign is falling in the ninth house, its lord, where it is placed. If Venus is the ninth lord, there is where the contrast is being created. That is a complex situation. It has to be dealt with the specific analysis. But the ninth house is the place where your this thing will be mitigated, issues, disputes will be mitigated from. So your father, your bosses, your gurus, your mentors, your university education. So I advise all my clients with this particular placement of the Venus in the fifth house of your horoscope, in the fifth house of your Navamsa chart, especially female clients. If you have this placement, do not marry before you complete your masters. This is important. And I must also add that if Saturn is placed in the ninth house of your Navamsa chart. So what you have to do is you should always give importance to the advice of your servants specifically. This is important. So whatever planet, because I took servants because Saturn is sitting there, I took the example of the Saturn in the ninth house. Whatever planet is there, if it is Sun, father's advice. If it is Jupiter, guru's advice. If it is Jupiter, husband's advice can also be taken. Mars, husbands or male friends or brothers specifically. Or if there is moon, your mother's. Or if there is any other planet like Rahu or Ketu, so its dispositor has to be checked. So if Rahu is in the ninth house or Ketu is in the ninth house, like foreigners or the people who are having cut on their face, some that sort of people, or strangers, you should always take their you should always give importance to their advice. They can be the advice. And the ninth house is the place where your marriage can be saved from, and you will see marital bliss happening from there. So fortune, luck, your father is very important. And all of the things, your master's degree, your post graduation is important with this particular placement of the Venus in the fifth house for your marital bliss to shine. So this is how you decode the placement of the Venus in the fifth house of your Navamsa chart. Let's move forward. Let's understand the placement of the Venus in the sixth house. Now when you have your Venus placed in the sixth house of your Navamsa chart, this is the Venus. It is a very good placement of the Venus to be in the sixth house of the Navamsa. Why? Because it will mitigate all the problems of the eighth house, the challenges, the disputes, the problems being put forward by the in-laws in your life. All of these things will be mitigated, will be nullified with this Venus in the this sixth house. What it will suggest is that catalyst for your married life, although it is a oxymoron, because it is a contrast, because Venus gets debilitated in the sign of Virgo in the sixth house, in the original sixth house. But here in the Navamsa, this does not happen. The workings of the Navamsa are different. So Venus here really performs well in respect to your married life. You would be drawn towards working for the underprivileged section of the society. You would want to work for the women, especially in the underprivileged section. I have also seen lawyers who are staunch supporter of women's right with this particular placement of the Venus in the sixth house. Although Saturn and Rahu should be helping this Venus out in the profession, in the professional front. The other thing is that your spouse can come from a foreign land, or you will be situated in a foreign land after your marriage. All of these things can happen. Your spouse's paternal grandmother can be someone who brought wealth in their family with this particular Venus placed in the sixth house. The paternal grandmother of your spouse becomes very important with this Venus placed in the sixth house. Also, the sign will matter a lot with this placement of the Venus. But yes, the foreign land, the foreign connections, the maternal relatives, your maternal relatives are also important. You can also see that after your marriage, your maternal relatives will get, they'll rise, their wealth will rise. And it is actually not directly connected, but yes, it is connected indirectly. You will never realize this thing, that it is happening, that after your marriage, your uncles, your maternal uncles or your cousins, wealth, it took off. But it will actually with this particular placement. So it's really good from their perspective. Also because Venus is a natural healer too, and Venus in the sixth house suggests that whenever you'll get if a disease is being indicated in your chart, in your D1 or in your D9, you will be recovering from it swiftly, although slowly but swiftly, and the recovery is for sure. So all of these things will happen when you have Venus in the sixth house. The suddenness, the challenges, the transformations in your life will be slowed down by this Venus to bring your life in a regular loop, that this is the time I get up and this is the time till I work, and these are my tasks, and till this time I'll finish up and I'll wrap up. This regular loop of your life will be manifested after your marriage. The suddenness, the transformation will be very much, it will come to a halt If your eighth house is not well disposed, it is a very good news to you. Actually, your eighth house should not be stronger than your sixth house with this particular placement of the Venus in the sixth house. Otherwise, your marital life can see problems in it. Also, to strengthen this Venus in the sixth house and your marital bliss, you should make regular investments, small amount of investments regularly, to make up the whole scenario. Although the loans, the debts, the diseases, all of these things are seen from the sixth house, but the Navamsa sixth house is more towards, you know, with Venus sitting here, dragging you towards the positive karakas. So deaths, diseases, and all of these, enemies, they'll be nullified. All of these, the effects of all of these things, all of these negative things will be nullified in your life post marriage with this particular placement of Venus in the sixth house. Let's move forward. Let's understand the placement of the Venus in the seventh house. Now, when you have your Venus placed in the seventh house, what it will suggest is that your partner will have a beautiful personality. He or she will be having, a graceful aura. They will be, aesthetically aligning their personality to their skin tone, to their, hairstyling, and they will be also graceful in their walk, in their talk, the way they represent themselves, and all of these karakas will be present in them. They can also be creative. They can also be of creative temperament. They can also be fond of music or sweets, and they could also be into films, or they can also be cinephile, and all of these things will be present in them. The Venus placed in the seventh house can also give an inclination towards diplomacy. The placement of Venus will be very important in your spouse's D1 chart. They can be Libra rising or Taurus rising in their D1, or their Venus will be sitting in the first house, fifth or ninth house, or they'll be some Venus ruled nakshatra rising in their D1. All of these things will be present in their D1 chart. So basically, they will be a Venus dominated person in your life. So they will be also romantic as well, because Venus is the karaka of romance. So all of these things will be present in their personality. Now, this is something general sort of a thing, but the advanced thing is that why is it a problem when you have Venus in the seventh house? If it is all good, then why do we have a problem in our lives? Just because of the fact that they might be too self-indulgent. They'll be only thinking about themselves. They'll be only thinking about their aesthetic alignment. They'll be only thinking about their luxury, their sensory pleasures, eating good and smelling good, having good perfumes, all of these things, and they will neglect you. So what you have to do is, if this Venus is supported by Rahu, these all things will be enhanced. So what you have to do is, with this Venus in the seventh house of your Navamsa chart, you should always pay attention to yourself. You should always take this into consideration, that you should not marry a person who is extremely beautiful. Like, you should marry someone who is in, like, he will be more or she will be more beautiful than you, and they will have this habit of finding flaws in your beauty, in your personality, that why are you wearing this red color, it does not go with this white shirt, and all of these things. It will be common in your marital life. All of these things will be. But what the thing which you can do with this Venus in the seventh house is that you are the one who is more either trying to be calculative, or you'll have to align with the karakas of the Venus then. So the Venus in the seventh house can only be mitigated either by the calculation, or by the Venus itself, or also by the Mars. So basically, physical activity will be important. So if you think that your spouse is finding flaws in your beauty, finding flaws in your life, that you are not a creative person, you don't like music, you don't know music, what is jazz and what is pop, and all of these things, or you don't look good. When you hear all these statements from your spouse, the first and the foremost thing will be, go and join a gym with this particular placement of the Venus in the seventh house. And when you will regularly invest your time into gymming, something that sort of a physical activity, the balance will be created. Or basically, you what I'm suggesting is that you'll have to do self care. Go and take spas, go and take facial massages, go and invest your time in something of a self care sort of an activity. So whenever you feel Venus is dominating your married life, it's overindulgence, always bring in Mars for the balance to be created. So this is how you decode the placement of the Venus in the seventh house. It is a good placement because Venus is the karaka of the Navamsa chart. The seventh house is also the karaka of marriage, and Venus is sitting there. If your D1 seventh house is well placed, so it is really a good news for you. And with this Venus, only the first house should not be weakened with any aspect or any conjunction. Otherwise, it is really a very good placement of the Venus in the seventh house of your Navamsa chart. Let's move forward and let's understand the placement of the Venus in the eighth house of your Navamsa chart. Now, when you have your Venus placed in the eighth house of your horoscope, this will suggest that you will be drawn towards astrology, mysticism, occult sciences, and all the kind of hidden truths in life after marriage. All the mystery thriller movies and serials, TV serials will interest you, entice you so much, like extremely. You will also like explore the side of astrological side of the world post marriage with this Venus in the eighth house. Or post marriage, the Venus in the eighth house will give boost to all these karakas. So you'll be maybe you become a practicing astrologer, or you become someone of a puzzle solver too with this Venus in the eighth house. Like you will be trying to unearth things, decode things basically. The other thing is that your in-laws will be the people who will be connected to creativity or healing. So maybe they can be also doctors, or they can be into creative fields also. They can also be into some sort of banking, or if it is supported by Jupiter, so banking can be there. They can also be into currency management of some sort, because Venus is the currency too. So they will actually have prosperity in their life. You'll see that your spouse has his family has more females than male members. All of these things will be present, although the things will be catered with the uh, other conjunctions and nakshatras of the this particular planet Venus in the eighth house. But there will be this thing. Moreover, your spouse would be someone with a beautiful face, beautiful voice. He'll be fond of sweets. He would want eating sweets, and he'll speak beautifully. Like his voice will not be harsh at all. Like Venusian traits will be present in his speech. The other thing with this Venus in the eighth house is that your partner is someone who embodies Venus like qualities. His hoarded wealth will be driven by Venus. So maybe he too is also in the creative field. His family and his relatives will be driven by prosperity, luxury, and all of these things. Your spouse family can also come from a land or from a culture where a female goddess is being worshipped. All of these things will be present in your spouse. The other thing is that this particular placement of the Venus in the eighth house, what I'm going to share is it can be taken as a negative fact by some of you, but the fact is that this Venus has the capability of making you follow the path of celibacy with this Venus in the eighth house. Because if at the maturity of Venus at 25 years of your age, if you do not feel Venus, if you are still struggling in your life, and your life is like a regular struggle, and if this Venus is supported by Mars, it really has a capability to turn you into a complete mystic, or some sort of a person who wants to only steer the path alone with this Venus in the eighth house. So it really has this capability of making you a celibate with its presence in the eighth house. The this problem of the celibacy or of not marrying is countered by, is nullified by the planets sitting in the sixth house of the Navamsa chart. So you'll have to check what planets are sitting in the sixth house. They'll help you actually. They will try to, give fuel to the workings of your marital life. They will try to fuel your marital life so that it comes into a regular cycle, into a regular loop. So they will be the planets countering and nullifying the ill effects of Venus sitting in the 8th house of your Navamsha chart. So 6th house becomes very important with this particular placement of the Venus in the 8th house. Now let's move forward. Let's understand the placement of the Venus in the 9th house. When you have your Venus placed in the 9th house of your horoscope, it will suggest that actually it is really a good placement, because the 9th house of Navamsha is really important. Planets placed there, they play a major role in your life with respect to your fortune, your luck, your marital life, the luck of your marital life as well, and the efforts put by your spouse. These all things are important. So the Venus placed in the 9th house becomes important. So what you can see is that post marriage you are interested in higher learnings related to Venus. So maybe you are post marriage completing your doctorate, or you are the person who is into more of learning Venusian uh, disciplines, like makeup artists. I've seen people having Venus in the 9th house of their Navamsha, that after they got married, they enrolled themselves into a makeup this course, makeup learning course, and then they open their own salon. So all of these things will be happening when you have Venus in the 9th house. So your higher learning will be towards Venus. You can also find a guru or a mentor after marriage who will be female. She will be a lady with this particular placement. Now it does not matter if you are a male or female, but yes, females will be there and they'll be supporting you in all the way possible with this placement of the Venus in the 9th house. The other thing is, with this Venus in the 9th house, which you can see is that the Venus is like a teacher, because Venus is also the Shukrachar, it is the teacher of the demons. So what we can see is that its duty is to teach you, and the teaching is a hard task. But because the Venus is the Karaka of your D9 chart, your Venus in the 9th house will protect you from all the things, all the bad things. It will teach you in a sweet way with this particular placement. So your mentors, your gurus, all of these people will be there to support you in the times of crisis. Your father will see prosperity coming in after your marriage. You will see whether you are male or female, you will see when you get married or whenever your D9 is activated, your father will feel this increase in his wealth and in his gains. And your relationship will also be very, it will be strengthened with your father after marriage. The other thing with this Venus in the 9th house is that it is more of a, your long distance travels will be there. If it is supported by Mercury or Rahu, there will be multiple foreign travels, there will be multiple foreign long distance travel. And these traveling, these long distance traveling will be very much artistic and aesthetically aligned. What does it mean is that you would want to visit a particular city, a particular place in a particular season. Why? Because you have ample amount of money, ample amount of wealth to do all of these things. So what it suggests is that wealth is surely guaranteed with this Venus in the 9th house of your Navamsha chart. Your marriage will also be a sort of a learning process, like a sweet learning process in your life, and you will also share all the fortune, all the wealth with your spouse too, with this Venus in the 9th house. The problem in the married life can come from the 5th house or the planet sitting there in the 5th house. So the 5th house karakas, like children or your romantic affairs, if there were any before, or the marriage had taken place, or your like graduation, like your degrees of the graduation, or any karaka related to the fifth house, your creative pursuits, or in some cases your relationship with authority figures in your life, your government, IDs or something, that sort of a thing can be a problem, can pose challenges in your married life with this Venus in the ninth house. Now, will this Venus be able to tackle those challenges? Will it be able to nullify its effect? Will be totally dependent on the placement of the fifth house. What the dignity is of the fifth house, what planets are there, in what strength they are. All of these things are important to be analyzed with respect to Venus and your marital bliss. Basic sense, Venus in the ninth house really performs well, and it guarantees marital bliss and harmony in your life after marriage. Fortune will definitely grow, but advice is something which is to be given importance. Like your Venus is in the ninth house, so females, all the females you encounter and they give you advice, you should take it seriously, you should give it importance. Maybe they have spoken and they have given you a important piece of information, and you should analyze it very seriously with this particular placement of the Venus in the ninth house of your Navamsa. Let's move forward and let's understand the placement of the Venus in the 10th house of your Navamsa. Now, when you have Venus in the 10th house of your Navamsa chart, what it will show is that your career would take a different turn after marriage. Your marriage can also be a catalyst establishing your career or boosting your career. Your career front will become more creative, more aesthetically aligned, and more comfortable after marriage. So maybe you were working in a particular company because of your particular location, and because of the marriage you had to move to another location, and there is where you apply in this particular company, and it is really great. It is 100 times better from the previous one. So all of these things will happen. Your career can also grow in the relative fields of Venus or Venusian sort. So all the karakas, like maybe the females are the people who are, manifesting their, who will be helping you out in establishing your career. All the females in your life, specifically your mother-in-law. With this particular placement of the Venus in the 10th house, suggests that your mother-in-law can really be a supporter of your married life. She will not allow your married life to break easily with this particular placement of the Venus in the 10th house. Your workplace can have a sort of a, a relaxing element in it. So maybe it is near a river or a waterfall, or maybe it is near a scenic spot with this Venus in the 10th house. So yes, your workplace is something really to visit with this particular Venus in the 10th house. The other thing is that all the karakas of the 10th house, your public dignity, your public image, your reputation will be magnified if supported by Rahu, this Venus, and it will be a harmonious marriage. It will be well reflected in the public dignity. So this is for sure that you are not marrying someone who is, compromised in his or her life. They are well settled, they are well groomed, they are living in a good city, they are earning well. And yes, this gives us a hint that there is something good out there waiting for you in your married life with this Venus in the 10th house. The other thing is that your mother-in-law is someone who can be really a beautiful lady. She can also speak good. She will have all the qualities of the Venusian sort. She'll also have knowledge about makeup and all of these trendy Gen Z things in her personality. All of these things will be normal to her. She'll know all of these things. The other thing with this Venus in the 10th house is that, as I've told you, that your mother-in-law is the person who is acting as a catalyst in your life after marriage. It can also be seen that the organization you work in or the workplace you have is female dominated. This is something also with this Venus placed in the 10th house. Problem for your marital life will come from your fourth house. But your mother can be the person who will not like all of these things happening. That your closeness with your mother in law or other females in your workplace or your organization, all of these things will be not liked by your mother. So this is something which you will see with this particular placement of the Venus in the 10th house. Although it's a good placement, it supports your married life, your marital bliss. Let's move forward. Let's understand the placement of the Venus in the 11th house. You will be drawn towards your incoming gains, towards your social circle, towards your uh, making your relations, making yourself appear in the outer world. But with this particular Venus in the 11th house of your horoscope, because Venus is the Karaka of the Navamsa chart, it can suggest that all of these things, you doing all of these things, can turn into something totally opposite. The more you'll intermingle with the outer world, the more you will be drawn towards social circle, the more you will be drawn towards your incoming gains, you will be facing obstruction in your married life. Maybe you will achieve those rewards, those awards, those gains, those pretty affluent social circle, but what you will see is that your marital life, your married life is somewhat compromised in the whole process with this particular placement of the Venus in the 11th house. So all of these things are important. The other thing is that your children can also be the karaka of like you'll want to aesthetically align your children too. So you would want to enroll them into music classes or creative painting classes or something, that sort of a setting. Maybe this can become the cause of issue or dispute between you and your partner, because your partner would not like all of these things. And a lot of things will depend on the 7th house of your Navamsa chart, but yes, Venus placed in the 11th house will drag you towards making you a social being after marriage, making a huge social circle, uh, conversing with the creative people, engaging with the people who have all the pleasures of luxury, sensory pleasures in their life. All of these things will be happening. You can also go uh, to foreign lands because of the fact that you want to pursue uh, creative pursuits in your life with this particular placement of the Venus in the 11th house. So your married life can face problems or issues or disputes whenever you intermingle more with your female elder siblings or more with female friends in your this life. Now it does not depend if you are a male and doing this or if you are a female doing this. Whatever gender you belong to, these things will be present there. Maybe if you are a female watching this video and you have only female friends in your social circle, your husband would not like those particular besties of yours, their personality or their likes and dislikes. He would want you to not intermingle with them oftenly. All of these things will be happening. The other thing is that with this Venus in the 11th house, the third house planets placed in the third house, the tools you use in your profession, whatever planets are there in the third house will define whatever tools you are using in your profession. All of these things become important to save your marital life, marital bliss. So your younger siblings can actually be the catalyst in saving your marital bliss, making your marriage more harmonious. Your close friends who are embodying Mercurian traits, either they are banker or an accountant or they are into health sector, all of these things, or they are simply Mercury, they are humorous, they are they are everywhere cracking jokes, will be the people who will be actually making your problems and mitigating your problems in your marital life. The problems can also be mitigated by your father-in-law in your married life. The problems can also be mitigated by your father-in-law, by your communication. You should always have a regular communication with your spouse over everything. Do not fight. Do not blame each other. But a simple normal communication should be there. The other thing with this Venus in the 11th house is that your short trips. could also help you in your marital, strengthening your marital life with this particular placement of the Venus in the 11th house of your Navamsa chart. Let's move forward. Let's understand the placement of the Venus in the 12th house of your Navamsa chart. Now, when you have your Venus placed in the 12th house of your Navamsa chart, what it will suggest is that it is really a good placement actually. When your Venus is placed in the 12th house of your Navamsa chart. Why? Because the 12th house in itself represents the daily struggles and, you know, the daily struggles of your spouse, diseases, deaths, and all of these things. Your private time with your spouse, actually, your sleep, your private rooms is the 12th house. Specifically in the G9, because we are talking about the materialistic realm today. So, the materialistic realm is isolation, but isolation with your spouse. So, it is really a very important house with respect to married life. Whenever the 12th house is compromised, it suggests that yes, there is something problem in the private rooms of the couple. So, this is important thing to be noted. So, when you have Venus in the in this placement, it will it will benefit in all the possible cases, like your sleep will be very good after marriage, you will be well invested in your life after marriage, you will actually get financial literacy after marriage. All of these things will happen. You will also be more drawn to spirituality, making both of your lives better with spirituality. You will also have a, you will never have a imbalance in your life, in your married life, because you are spiritually drawn to, and your private room setting is also a very romantic one, with this Venus in the 12th house. So your romantic life will be there, you will be creatively like attracted towards each other with this Venus in the 12th house of your Navamsa chart. Also, you will see that the regular life of your partner is having all the Venusian sort of elements in it. So maybe he is the person or she is the person who is using all the luxuries in their daily day-to-day life. So this suggests and this indicates that your spouse could be a wealthy spouse. He or she could come from a wealthy family. Your foreign trips, long distance foreign trips, I must add, will be enhanced post marriage. You and your spouse would love to travel around the world. The other thing is that the maternal relatives of your spouse will see a spike of wealth in their life after marriage. All of you will not realize this thing, but yes, there will be this thing, because your Navamsha has been activated with this particular placement. The other thing is that your life will get a boost in all the karakas of the 12th house. Your married life will be a blessed one with this Venus in the 12th house. The only problem with this Venus and your married life can come from the second house, the family, the relatives, your family and your relatives, actually, not your in laws. So maybe they are the people who are, judging you for how you are behaving, how you are traveling, how you are acting with your spouse, and your daily routine, and all of these things. Or your hoarded wealth can also be the problem, can also be the cause of the problem in your this married life. With this particular placement of the Venus in the 12th house, the problem can also come from the fact that your particular family, your own family, is trying to breach your intimacy between you and your spouse. They are crossing the boundaries, they want to know everything, they want to know what is happening, why you both are not behaving in this particular way. All of these things will be seen when Venus is placed in the 12th house of your Navamsa chart. Also, your face actually can have the problems of acne or pimples after marriage. You would need to do a lot of skincare after marriage. All of these things you will see. And all the planets sitting in the second house of your Navamsa chart will be their karakas, will be the problem creators in your married life. So if let's say your sun is sitting in the second house of your Navamsa chart, so particularly in family, father, your father, or the father figure in your family, if it is some like senior uncle or someone in the family, can be the problem in your married life. He can create the problem in your married life because the sun karaka is to be seen. Or the sun, if the sun is placed in the second house of your Navamsa chart with Venus in the 12th, we can also see that government or your family's relationship with government can also produce a problem, can also create a problem in your married life with this particular placement of the Venus in the second house. So in overall, it is a very good placement. It suggests that yes, marital bliss will be there, wealth will be there, you know, harmony will be there in the marriage. Your personal private life with your spouse will be really great and harmonious. So for that, you should not be worried. Also post marriage, you will see a pattern of these things happening, that your body, your whole presence is more Venusian. You are looking more sensual than before. You are carrying yourself more with grace. Your personality will see all of these things, adding up in your aura, in your presence. So all of these things are bestowed by Venus in the 12th house of your Navamsa chart. Venus is the Karaka of the D9 chart, and well placed in your this 12th house. The sign will also matter a lot with this particular placement. But yes, Venus in the 12th house will definitely give you a good married life if your second house is not very strong. So this was my understanding about Venus in all the houses of your Navamsa chart. Comment in the comment section below if you want a separate video of Venus in all the signs in your Navamsa chart. We'll discuss how the basic and the foundation of the marriage is being led by that particular sign, by that particular characteristics and elements of that particular sign. And we'll talk more about trikon, kam trikon, moksha trikon in the sign video. So you'll have to tell me in the comment section below if you want it. And if you like this video, do not forget to like it and share it with your friends and family. Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.